Hello YouTube. This video is going to be for Iamabbyblack. She's a YouTube user who has subscribed to my channel for a while. So this video is going to be for you. She wants to know what was it like for me to come out as a witch here in Michigan. Well, it was pretty easy. There was no formal coming out day. I've always been a witch. And I only tell certain people, people who know me and all of a sudden they see my YouTube channel and they start asking questions, I just tell them, hey, I'm a witch, and whatever you want to know about the craft and me, you pretty much can find out by just watching my YouTube channel or going to my website, merlinravensong.com. And here in Michigan, I think we're pretty much open-minded here for the most part. I mean, yeah, we have our closed-minded people also, but for the most part, people are pretty understanding here for the most part. But like I said before, we do have our fundies. Okay, I'm going to kind of break this up in like 3 parts. So she wants to know, what was it like for me to come out as a witch here in Michigan? And as a left-hand path person, again, it's pretty easy. I think here in Michigan, I don't know, this might sound crazy, but the fact that we live by the Great Lakes and we just have this ability to draw in people. We've had some of the more outrageous rock stars here in Michigan. We had Iggy Pop, we had the king of horror rock, Alice Cooper, who by the way is a Christian, which always blows my mind. We've always had that toughness here in Michigan, and that alternative feel here in Michigan. And I was told that even a lot of the goth subculture, has some of its origins here in Michigan, which I didn't know, But it really wasn't that big of a deal. And I really didn't do a coming out thing with anyone. I did tell some of my relatives, some of them kind of freaked out a little bit, but it's like, what can you do? I'm a witch, so what? I don't tell everyone that. I don't flaunt it in front of people. I don't discuss it with many people. I don't particularly hang out with too many people who are outside of the craft or who are outside of music and art and things of that nature, so I don't get that much backlash, So it really wasn't that hard. Now I know that there are certain people who watch my videos who are going to be like, hey, I live in the Bible Belt, or I live somewhere that, that is extremely intolerant about, witchcraft, the occult, Satanism, whatever you're into. And my only advice would be is stay true to who you are, and only tell people who you trust, or people who you think they could understand your position. Those are the only people you need to really tell about your religious beliefs or whatever, because for me it's private to a certain extent. Yeah, I have this big YouTube channel, but I mean, I only tell you guys certain things. I don't tell you everything, about my religious beliefs. But you don't have to go out and have a coming out day or whatever. It should just be something natural. And the people who don't understand about the craft, you don't talk to them. People who don't understand about your position on the occult or whatever, you don't have to talk to those people. You don't necessarily have to even tell your position on it, So that is something that I've always practiced. I only tell certain people. But because I have this YouTube channel, sometimes I get friends, they'll know me for like 10 years, and all of a sudden they walk up to me and they give me this strange look. It's like, what is that, What is this you being on YouTube or whatever? So then I have to explain myself. But hey, it's me. And as I said before, I only talk to certain people about it. What was it like being a left-hand path person? To me, witchcraft has always been a cult. It's always been something that is hidden behind the surface of things. So for me, it's always been left-hand path. I guess in some ways I use darker imagery than a lot of witches that I know, you know, with the Baphomets and the skulls or whatever. But that's me. When I first started getting into the craft, I remember there was this one book by Scott Cunningham. There's nothing against Scott Cunningham because Scott Cunningham is from Michigan. So this is nothing against Scott Cunningham. But I remember I had this one book by Scott Cunningham that I bought like years ago. And it has a picture of a woman. And she's like walking like down the street in a business suit. And I think it's called like Witchcraft Today, or you know, Witches Today, or something like that. It's been a long time since I've seen the book, and I'm looking at it and I was like, this is not me. This is not why I got into the craft, you know, to look, you know, super normal or like everyone else, and you know, that's not my approach to the craft at all. Now I wonder if he had anything to do with that cover. You know, sometimes the your publisher will put things on your cover that you don't particularly like, but you know, that is not me. One of the reasons why I got involved in the occult is because I like a lot of the dark imagery or whatever, you know. So that's just me. So that's me being left-hand path, or that's me being, you know, outside the norm. And I've always really considered myself as being a witch more so than a Wiccan. I started off using the term Wiccan when I first started getting into the craft, but the term Wiccan, I think what it is over the years it's changed. You know, it's now I'm not trying to whitewash anyone's religion or whatever, or anyone's take on witchcraft, but to me it seemed like over the years a lot of things that I've seen in regards to being Wiccan has been watered down from when I started getting interested into the craft. And that's why I no longer use the term Wiccan, I use the term witch. It's because I don't necessarily run away from, you know, the dark imagery or whatever. And I just am me. I'm Merlin. That's just the way I carry myself. I love horror movies. I see a great value in them. They're more than just horror movies. There are things that a lot of these movies, as I said in a ton of my other videos, they bring up things that should be addressed. Night of the Living Dead, you know, perfect example of that. You know, if you mess with nuclear energy the wrong way, you know, it's going to come back and it's going to hit you threefold or fourfold or fivefold, or you know, whatever, 100-fold. So that's me. One other thing that she mentions, Iamabbyblack, she mentioned in her comment, was what was it like me coming out as a witch and being African American. Well, again, here in Michigan, there are a lot of African American witches. I don't know how that is, you know, around the country, but here in Michigan, there are a lot of African American witches. Now, when I first started out, I didn't come across a whole lot of witches who are African American, but over time, you know, it's like a lot of the witches I know now are African Americans. So things have changed over the years, but I never felt you know, apart from the community being African American when I first started out. So that was not a problem either. Sometimes people were surprised. I remember a couple of full moon circle meetings that I had on the campus of Wayne State University when I used to run the pagan / witch organization there, that sometimes when I would have a meeting, when new people would come in, you know, they would always wonder, am I at the right place? You know, they would see me. It's like, yeah, you're at the right place. You know, I'm an African American witch. So that has never really been a problem. And like I said, just me being me here in Michigan is never truly been an issue. Yes, I've come across, you know, your crazies and your cuckoos and your nutcases, but for the most part, you know, the whole being a witch in Michigan has not been an issue. So hopefully I answered your question. Iamabbyblack, and you know, the only advice I could give is you only share certain things with people. You don't necessarily have to tell everyone that, you know, you are a witch or you're a pagan or, you know, whatever belief system you follow. You don't have to tell the whole universe what you're all about, because I don't tell the whole universe everything I'm about. So, you know, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. At least it wasn't for me. You know, and then the people who are, you know, totally against what I am, you know, I write them off. It's, you know, as simple as that. Some of my relatives know that I'm a witch. Most don't. And, you know, that's the way I want to keep it. If they ask, then I'll let them know what it's all about. And if they're not able to comprehend what I'm talking about, or, you know, other things that I'm into, if they're not able to see my light, and it's like, hey, okay, we're not going to have this conversation anymore. And if you try to press the issue, then I'm going to ask you to leave, or I'm going to leave, or whatever. So that's my take on it. That's the way I deal with being a left-hand path African American witch living in Michigan. That was a mouthful. All right, until next time, free your mind and your ass will follow. Love is the law, and peace.